Hi everyone, it's Shannon. Today I have 50 quick, easy, and simple Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs for you. Some will be snowman themed, Santa themed, candy cane themed, and even mason jar quick and simple projects. So sit back, get cozy, and thank you for tuning into my channel, The Daily DIYer. I love that you can find not only candy canes but also peppermints at Dollar Tree for so inexpensive. So here are 10 candy cane craft, decor, and gift ideas. First up is a way to really wow your guests. This is a very inexpensive cake I purchased that was pre-made from Walmart. It was only about $5. You can purchase a pre-made cake and use Dollar Tree candy canes and peppermints to really give it a Christmas look and feel, and it'll look like you spent hours in your kitchen. So first we're going to take some peppermints, put them in a bag, and I'm using a mallet to crush them up. I didn't want them too small though, so you want some larger pieces and some smaller ones, and you just press them into the bottom edge of your cake. I also added some to the top around the rim, and then next I unwrapped several different candy canes and stuck them right down into the middle of the cake, displaying them at different heights to really give it some character. You will need several candy canes for this next project, along with some ribbon and a taper candle, which is also from Dollar Tree. I'm placing my candy canes upside down on the bottom edge of the taper candle. I'm using some hot glue for this, and as you go around, you kind of want to test and make sure that your candle is sitting even and that your candy canes are sitting flush against the table so you don't get a lopsided candle. Once I had all of my candy canes all the way around the bottom of the candle, I also used that ribbon to tie a bow. Not only is it a cute little accent, but it also keeps your candy canes from coming off of your candle on the off chance maybe it gets bumped. So I think this would be such a cute project for a dining room table. If you made several of these and made them at different heights, you could really get a fun look. These heart ornaments are so quick and easy. I'm using 2 candy canes and a ribbon for each one of these, along with my hot glue and some scissors. And you just put your candy canes together in a heart shape using your hot glue. And then you'll just take a strip of ribbon to make a little loop at the top so you can hang them from your Christmas tree. I also really love the idea of adding a piece of scrapbook paper to the back or even a family photo to really add some extra charm. Dollar Tree vases are also really cute to add some peppermint candies in as a filler, and then you can put even a Christmas tree or some greenery like I'll show you here displayed inside. Next is a very quick and inexpensive gift idea. You'll need a piece of green felt and a candy cane, as well as a pair of scissors. And what I'm doing here is just kind of figuring out the sizing, depending on the size of your candy cane, about how big you need your Christmas tree cut. So I did fold mine in half and then drew on a Christmas tree shape and cut that out with a sharp pair of scissors. And that will give me my basic Christmas tree shape. I also cut some slits down the center of the Christmas tree, and that is where we're going to insert the candy cane. And it just makes a really cute way to make a special gift, especially if you're needing several of something for a large group or maybe a classroom. This you could create many of really, really quickly and also really inexpensively. This reindeer candy cane is something I remember making with my grandmother when I was younger, so I had to throw this project in there. And basically, you're going to need pipe cleaners, pom-poms, and wiggly eyes. So I'm taking a brown pipe cleaner and twisting it onto the top of the candy cane. I took a pencil to wind up his antlers on both sides. I added the pom-pom nose and wiggly eyes onto the front and just created a super cute and simple reindeer candy cane. If you are Christmas obsessed like me, you can head over to my brand new Christmas channel called The Cozy Christmas Cottage. I also have a Facebook and Instagram page for them both, and you can head over there. I will link those down in the description box below. This Christmas candy cane wreath is so cute. You're going to need about 20 candy canes or 2 packs from Dollar Tree, so it's only going to cost you about $2 to make. So inexpensive. Again, we are making those heart shapes with our candy canes. You're going to need 10 hearts total, and you're going to need to add lots and lots of hot glue to these hearts so that they have some structure and stability. Once all of your hearts are made, we can start creating our wreath, and you're just going to put all of your hearts in a circle shape and then start adding your hot glue in between all of your hearts where those touch and where they connect. I would definitely recommend adding maybe a snowflake to the center of this or some type of ornament that is going to give you even more stability for when you go to hang it up. And I'm just using some red and white checked ribbon to hang my wreath up. It's just a really cute pattern that really complements the red and white and the stripes. Candy canes also make a great alternative to the traditional gift bow to add to the tops of your gifts and packages. I'm actually using some brown craft paper that is also from Dollar Tree. It's actually packing paper, but I do believe they also have it with their gift wrap. Once I got my package all wrapped up with the craft paper, I added a piece of traditional greenery to the top. It was just a nice contrast against the red and white. And I also tied up everything with some baker's twine. I will make sure to link this down in the description box below. This is definitely a staple item that I use over and over again in my gift giving and my crafting during the holidays because of the cute red and white stripes. This garland could not be more simple. It's a little bit non-traditional as it's not hanging from a string. We're actually going to hang it straight onto the mantle. You could also hang them onto a shelf or wherever you see fit. It would be cute in a kitchen as well. So I'm just taking some ribbon and making some loops, and then I added those loops onto my mantle and then hung the candy canes inside those loops. This is also a really great way to add some Christmas flair to something simple like this tray that is also from Dollar Tree. I added a pitcher and a couple little Christmas accessories to the tray and popped a few of those candy canes into the pitcher with some greenery. Could not be more quick and could not be more simple. Also super inexpensive. I love that Dollar Tree carries these clear plastic ornaments in 2 different sizes year after year. I love to craft with them. And this next part is 10 different ways that you can decorate with clear ornaments. This first ornament is a Santa themed ornament, and I'm using some tissue paper to fill the inside of the clear ornament. I'm using a dowel rod that helped me get it in there, and it also helped me fluff the tissue paper back up so it didn't look too crunched in there. And then I took some black grosgrain ribbon, heat sealed the edges because my ribbon was a little bit too wide, so I had to cut it down. And then I used that to size how big I needed a belt buckle made into. So this is just gold felt. I cut a square and then cut a square out of the center to make my buckle. And then I just used my hot glue to glue the ribbon onto the ornament and glue the felt to the center of the ribbon. I have absolutely loved having a new emoji for each new video. You guys have been doing such a good job, and I wanted to give you today's video emoji, which is the Santa Claus. So make sure to head down to the comment section below, leave a Santa Claus emoji. If you don't have emojis, you can also just leave the word Santa. I definitely have a Grinch obsession, so this next ornament I'm using some green pom-poms to fill in the ornament. It kind of reminds me of the Grinch's fluffy green fur. Once I got it all filled up, then I just took some red acrylic paint and simply painted a heart right onto the front. Next is an adorable melted snowman ornament. So I wrapped up some paper to make a funnel and then added my seed beads into the bottom. That kind of represents the snow for this. I also added some mini pom-poms and cut a little carrot nose out of felt. And then also tied up some ribbon to look like his scarf and used some brown pipe cleaners to make his arms. I love the white, snowy, wintry Christmas look for my Christmas theme, so this is one of my favorite ornaments. It's made using some tiny itty bitty bottle brush Christmas trees from Dollar Tree, but they were so tiny that even if I added some snow into the ornament, it still would have started to cover up the actual tree part. So what I'm doing here is cutting down some dowel rods, and I hot glued those to the bottoms of those tiny little Christmas trees, and that kind of gave them some height within the ornament. I am using some tweezers here, so I put some hot glue on the bottom of the dowel rods, use the tweezers to place the little trees into the ornament so they would stay before adding some Epsom salt, which represents the snow here in this ornament. Super quick and easy, and like I said, this is definitely one of my favorite Christmas ornaments. This nautical style Christmas ornament is made using some sand and some small seashells. This ornament is actually pretty special to us as it has sand and seashells from our honeymoon this summer. So this makes a great keepsake ornament, but if you are a beach lover and maybe have a nautical style Christmas tree, this will work for that too. To really enhance that nautical look, I'm using a thicker jute instead of ribbon to tie up the top and use it as a hanger for the Christmas tree. These glitter ornaments are really popular, and I kept wanting to try this. So what I'm doing here is adding some polyacrylic into the ornament. I would say I added probably about a tablespoonful. I did use that paper funnel so that it would easily slide right in there, and then you'll just throw that paper away. You want to run your polyacrylic along the inside of your ornament all the way. You can see it is a creamy color so you can see once your ornament is completely covered. I dumped any excess back into the can and then let it sit in a plastic cup to drip all the way out. I did let it sit for about 30 minutes before using a new funnel to add some glitter into the ornament. I added just enough that I thought would cover the inside, and then just put a rag over the end and shook it up really well until the whole entire thing was covered. The next ornament is a Santa cam ornament. So I'm starting with that glitter ornament again and using a decal added to the front to make it look like a Santa cam. It's such a cute idea. I do have this decal in my Etsy shop and I'll link that down in the description box below, but you can also use a Sharpie marker and just draw your own design onto the front. And if you didn't like the idea of doing glitter for your ornaments, you could even just purchase a red solid colored ornament and add your design to the front of that. I am definitely obsessed with Christmas music. I listen to it all year long and I am definitely not ashamed. It's just a fun and happy thing and it brings me a lot of joy. So this ornament represents Christmas carols. I am cutting some antique sheet music into strips, into long strips. I found this off Etsy, but you can also Google Christmas carol sheet music and then kind of just print some of your own on some thin paper. And once I had all of my strips cut, I used some Mod Podge. So I put on a generous amount around part of the ornament, laid my paper sheet music on top, and then added more Mod Podge on top of that. And that just seals that sheet music onto the surface of the ornament. I could not have had more fun with this next ornament. This was a new project to me. I'm using alcohol ink to create this stained glass look, and I purchased these from the craft store. I'll also link them down in the description box below because you can also find them on Amazon. But I just put a couple drops inside of the ornament and used some can air to blow that ink around. Someone also suggested that you could use a straw and just blow through the straw to move that ink around. And what I love about this project is you can kind of use different techniques to get completely different looks, and of course use different colors to get different looks that way too. This first part, I just kind of put every single color in first, and then it started to kind of mix. So I decided I was going to do one color at a time after that. So different techniques are going to get you different looks, and it's just a fun thing to play with, and turned out pretty beautiful. Very, very gorgeous and fun technique. This snowman was so cute. It did turn out super cute, but I ended up using those styrofoam balls from Dollar Tree to fill it up, and let me tell you, this stuff is worse than glitter. I actually really love glitter, but I do not appreciate this product at all. It looks so cute, so if you don't mind the mess and the static clinged little white balls all over the place, it does turn out cute. But once I had the inside filled up, I just used a paint pen and some orange paint to create a snowman face on the front of this ornament and tied a ribbon on the top to hang it from the tree. Now let's make some Santa Christmas crafts. So first up is a Santa wreath, and what I'm doing here is cutting a Dollar Tree wreath apart using some heavy duty scissors. I love these things. You can find them on Amazon, and I will link them down in the description box below. So you can see here, I just cut my wreath apart and then use some duct tape to cover the ends so they wouldn't come undone. And it would make it a little bit easier for me to feed this Santa scarf all the way around the wreath. So I did have to cut little holes in both ends of the scarf to be able to get that wreath through there. And once I had the scarf on, I took my duct tape again and reattached where the wreath was cut apart. And then what we're gonna do is actually tie the ends of our scarf together into knots. That's gonna keep our scarf together in the middle as well as cover up that duct tape. And now we're going to give him his Santa belt using some black grosgrain ribbon. I'm using some hot glue to attach it around the back side of the wreath on both sides. And then again, I am cutting some gray felt to make his buckle. So I cut a square out of the felt and then cut another square out of that square to create a buckle shape, and then just hot glued it right onto the ribbon. Of course, Santa loves his milk and cookies, so we're gonna make a mason jar mug and little dessert tray, and all I did here was add decals to both of them. I do have these in my Etsy shop as well. Again, I will link that down in the description box below. I did use the font The Skinny for both of these and matte black Oracle number 651 vinyl if you'd like to create your own. I just made sure to size them both so that they would fit on my surfaces. This cute little terracotta pot could not be more simple, but makes a great gift idea or decor piece. I'm using some red acrylic paint, and I gave the bottom half of my terracotta pot 2 coats of this. Once the red paint had completely dried, then I came in with my white paint and painted the entire rim of the terracotta pot. Again, I did 2 coats of this, letting it dry in between coats. Once the entire terracotta pot was dry, then I started working on adding his buttons. I didn't have any black buttons, but I did have purple ones, so I decided to paint them with some black chalk paint, let those dry really well, and then used my hot glue to attach them onto the front. This red paintbrush snowman could not be more cute. I'm using paintbrushes from the Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of 2, so they're only 50 cents a piece. And I made sure to paint the wooden handle with red paint, and then I also have a red bead that I painted, which is going to be for his nose. Now to make a Santa snow globe. I could not believe I found these plastic cloches at Dollar Tree. Such an amazing find. I didn't quite like the brown plastic look at the bottom though, so I used some gray chalk paint all along that brown and let that dry, and I'm going to be adding some white chalk paint over the top of that. That's going to give it a weathered wood look and just make it look a little bit more snowy. Next, I'm using a bottle brush tree and little Santa figurine from Dollar Tree glued onto the bottom of the plastic. I also added some Epsom salt into the clear plastic lid and flipped the plastic part upside down before adding that to the plastic dome, and then I just shook the salt down into the bottom. This way the snow would stay inside. Up next is a wooden disc Santa ornament. Now these discs are from Hobby Lobby. They're only 50 cents a piece, but you can find round wood shapes at Dollar Tree and use all Dollar Tree items to recreate this, but for 50 cents I thought that was a pretty good bargain to add in here. So I added a half circle down at the bottom with white paint and then a strip of white right above that. That is going to be his beard and the brim of his hat. And then I added red paint for the top half circle for his hat. I drew on his eyes with a black marker, as well as drew on his mouth with the same marker, and then added his red pom-pom nose using some hot glue. This Santa bottle is made using a Dollar Tree, really cute bottle that I love, but you could even use a wine bottle or a bottle out of your recycling. So I'm starting by using some white chalk paint to make the brim of his hat, and then I went to the bottom and started mapping out where his mustache and his beard kind of came around, and then filled the rest in with white paint. And now you want to give the rest of the bottle a couple of coats of red paint, except for his face, which I gave more of a caramel color. Now you want to make sure your bottle is pretty good and dry so you can handle it to add on his face next. So I added white eyes, a red nose. I kind of had to come in and clean up some of the white where my red paint had come into the white paint. And then I added his black little dots for his eyes. I love this simple next idea. I really wanted to use a Dollar Tree Santa mug, but they didn't have the ours out yet at our store, so I'm using a Santa mug that I had on hand and adding some Dollar Tree styrofoam to the inside, and then just popping a bottle brush tree right down into there. My bottle brush tree is from Walmart and it was only $2. Now we're going to make some cute farmhousey style books that are stacked, and what I'm using I know this is one of my longer tutorials and I would love to see who is still watching at this point, so take a second, give this video a thumbs up. I'm so proud of you for still hanging in there and continuing to watch. You've already seen 30 Christmas DIYs, and the amazing thing is we still have 20 great ideas to go. So let's keep going with these mason jar Christmas crafts. Next up is this adorable snowman mason jar. So I filled my mason jar with some Dollar Tree peppermint candies. I'm using a black marker to create buttons on the front. I'm also using some Dollar Tree clothesline, which I love because it is also red and white like a candy cane. And I'm just making a loop on the top of the mason jar lid. I hot glued those in place and then popped on some larger black pom-poms onto the sides so that they would look like little earmuffs. Next, I'm adding the details to the buttons using some chalk paint. I love fresh flowers, and having holiday vases is a fun way to display them, so we're going to make a really simple Santa Claus style mason jar. I have some black grosgrain ribbon here, and I actually folded it in half because my ribbon was a little bit too wide, and then I hot glued that around the center of the mason jar. And again, I'm using some gray felt to make his buckle, so I cut a square out of the center of the felt and then hot glued that to the middle. Now we're going to make a sideways snow globe. So what we're going to do is add a red truck to the inside side of the mason jar. This truck is from Dollar Tree as well. It was from back in their spring, and I grabbed several of them because I knew they would be so cute with little Christmas trees glued into the back. So that is what I did. I found a little bottle brush tree and added that into the back of the truck. And then instead of using traditional Epsom salt, which is what I usually do to create snow, I found this bath soak at Dollar Tree. It's more powdery and it was just really, really pretty, but you could use Epsom salt as well. And here I wanted to give it feet so it wouldn't roll around. So these are little wooden cubes from Dollar Tree that I just hot glued onto the bottom of the jar. And now for a little bit more traditional of a snow globe. I am actually using these wooden discs that are from Hobby Lobby, but I'm pretty sure you can find these at Dollar Tree sometimes too. And to give it more of a winter look, I'm adding some white chalk paint to mine. Now to add my snowy figurines, I had to add some of those wooden cubes to the bottom of the lid to raise them up again because they sat pretty low down into the lid and you weren't going to really see them. So at that point, once I got my lid put back onto the jar, then I added some of that bath soak in there and then hot glued it to my wooden disc. Mason jars also make a great way to give gifts, like this cookie baking gift set. I'm using Dollar Tree cookie bags and just dumped 2 of those into my jar, added some chocolate chips to the top, and then tied a ribbon to make it more decorative. And then this isn't a traditional mason jar, it's one from Dollar Tree though, and I really like it because it has a flat front, which allowed me to take a Sharpie marker and add in the additional ingredients that you would need to create these cookies, as well as the baking time and temperature. This candle holder turned out so pretty. I haven't seen one made like this before. I have seen them with the little window in the front. So what I have is a cookie cutter and some contact paper or some shelf liner, which you can find at Dollar Tree too. And I traced around the cookie cutter like a template and then cut out the shape using some scissors. That is basically going to give us our sticker that we can stick onto the front of the mason jar, and then we're going to paint around it. Once the paint was dry, I was able to come back and remove the sticker, which revealed our Christmas tree window. Now, instead of the traditional candle, which you could also use a battery-powered candle for this too, I actually really love the natural glow of real candles, so I decided to add some water to my mason jar and add a floating candle to the top of that, and it created such a beautiful and cozy look. Of course, Dollar Tree has the traditional mason jars, but they also have these great mug mason jars, and it's really simple to just add a decal onto the front of these to really make them personalized. I will have lots of decals that will fit the fronts of these mason jar mugs in my Etsy shop, and I will link that down in the description box below. I have several different sets. I'm adding the word Noel to the front of this mug, but they also work really well on traditional coffee mugs too. I have seen these cute mason jars on Pinterest before, but they are so much more beautiful in person, I have to say, and they are so quick and easy. You just put some Mod Podge all over the bottom of your mason jar and then rub it into a plate full of Epsom salt. So you can see I'm kind of like packing it on there to make sure it grabs on and sticks. And basically you just do this until it's all covered, shake off any excess. I had some bare spots, so I kind of had to add some more Mod Podge and then add the salts to those bare spots, and you just let it dry. I also took some jute, wrapped it around the top rim of the mason jar, added some berries and some greenery to really give it a Christmassy and wintry feel. Up next, we're just going to add a Christmas tree into a Dollar Tree jar. Now, I wish I would have had a smaller tree and could have used a traditional mason jar for this, but I only had a larger tree on hand, and this is the big jar from Dollar Tree that was able to fit it. And all I did was give it a couple coats of white chalk paint so it wasn't clear and you couldn't see through it, and then also use some Dollar Tree ribbon wrapped around the middle of it, hot glued into place to dress it up. Now the next 10 projects are all snowman themed, and I absolutely love snowmen because not only can you decorate with them for Christmas time, but you can leave them up all winter long. So this very first project is a snowman mason jar. Of course, we just finished mason jars. We're gonna make another snowman one. A little bit differently though, we're gonna paint our mason jar white. Of course, for our snowy snowman, using white chalk paint, you're gonna have to do this a couple coats to make sure you get it covered all the way. And then we're gonna accessorize with some red buttons down the center using some hot glue, and then some plaid Christmas ribbon wrapped around the rim to give him a scarf. Next is a glass snowman globe with twinkle lights. I'm using some orange chalk paint to give him his carrot nose, as well as some black chalk paint. I added his eyes and his little smile. For the inside, I'm using some white tissue paper that I wrapped the battery pack up in and then stuck down into the glass vase, and then tucked the twinkle lights on the inside, trying to space them out and make sure they were kind of outside of the tissue paper so they didn't get lost on the inside. Now for a cozy snowman wreath, I'm using 2 different sizes of wire wreaths from Dollar Tree for his head and his body, and also a fleece blanket from the Dollar Tree's baby section. Super pretty, and it has the white in it, so it makes our snowman look extra snowy. I just wrapped strips of it around and around the large and small wreaths before attaching the wreaths together to create his head and body. For his hat, I am using some black stiff felt and just freehanded the shape of a hat while holding his head over where it would basically end up sitting. Used my scissors to cut it out and then hot glued it into place. Now for his scarf, I'm using this buffalo check scarf from Dollar Tree, and it was an infinity scarf, so I had to cut it apart and then just wrapped it around his neck, and also cut the ends square and then cut slits into the end of the fabric to make it look more like a scarf. These cute little guys are made from battery-powered tea lights from Dollar Tree, and I gave him eyes and painted the flame for his nose orange and gave him his little polka dot mouth, and then from there I used just scraps from around my craft room to create some winter accessories like earmuffs, scarves, hats, and then added some ribbon to the back to make a hanger so they could hang on the Christmas tree. I love how this cute stacked snowman turned out. We're using all items from Dollar Tree, one of the drawer boxes, so these sit within each other, so they were the perfect way to create this tiered look. And then also a wooden block that Dollar Tree carried at one point this summer that was just the right size to make his head. So all of these blocks got white chalk paint, and then I added his face to the smallest block using my black and orange marker. I really wanted him to have some black buttons, but I only had purple, so I decided to paint my buttons black. And while those were drying, I went ahead and used my hot glue to attach all of the blocks together. Then I hot glued on his buttons and added his scarf. This guy was so fun to make, so I'm using a Dollar Tree wine glass painted with white chalk paint all over. Did make sure to do a couple coats to make sure it was completely covered and you didn't see through that glass. Here I got extra fancy and decided to add some glitter to the bottom, give it a sparkly, snowy look. So I'm using some Mod Podge and then sprinkled some glitter onto the Mod Podge and let that dry. Made sure to knock off any excess and then put more Mod Podge on top of that to seal it in. Again, I'm using my trusty chalk markers to create his face, making a carrot nose and little circles for his eyes and mouth. Dollar Tree also just happened to have the absolute perfect size top hat ornament that fit right on the top of this wine glass. And since it is a red and black buffalo check pattern, I also had some of my scarf fleece left over and decided to tie that around the stem of the wine glass. I also had to add some hot glue to make sure that the fabric stayed put. I got extra creative with some picture frames from Dollar Tree to create this snowman. So these are 3 different sizes to create that tiered look. I am taking out all of the insides and painting them all white first. I'm replacing the insides with some just plain white cardstock. I put the correct size into each frame, and then we'll start working on attaching them all together. Now we're going to flip all of the frames upside down and add some paint stir sticks to the back. I'm just using some hot glue for this, and that's what's going to give our snowman its stability. I also gave him some pom-poms for earmuffs and used some fleece to create a scarf. Made sure to add all of the details onto the fronts of the frame, like his face and his buttons, and then use some pipe cleaners on the back to create his arms. You may not realize, but this guy is made out of a terracotta pot that is from Dollar Tree during their spring, and what I did is painted it all white to start. Now I'm using the red and white buffalo check leftover fabric to create a hat and a scarf. Now for a pine cone snowman. I actually created a snowman using wood beads and had this head kind of hanging around. So I went ahead and used that for the top of this ornament as well. They are 1.5 inch size wood bead ornaments just for reference. And what I did is painted the wooden bead with white chalk paint, and then I also frosted my pine cone with the chalk paint as well. Now to piece this all together, I'm using some yarn as the hanger, and I kind of pushed it up through the center of the bead, made a large knot at the bottom, and then pushed it in as far as I could and hot glued it so it would stay in place, and then hot glued the bead to the top of the pine cone. I just used some ribbon to tie around his neck to give him a scarf, and then drew on his face. Next is a pretty good sized snowman frame. I'm using 2 of these signs that are from Dollar Tree from their Halloween that I had kept, and took all of the things apart before flipping it over. And then for the brim of the hat, I am using some foam board from Dollar Tree. I just kind of figured out about the size. And of course, we can't forget to count down the days until Christmas. This is a metal tray from Dollar Tree, and I'm using some chalkboard paint to add to the center of the tray. That way we can erase our numbers and use this like a chalkboard and change the days until Christmas as we get closer to the holiday. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up button and leave that Santa emoji down in the comments below. I want to thank you all so much for joining me for this tutorial today. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and select all so you're notified when new DIYs and inspiration pop up here on the Daily DIYer channel. I also want to have you check the description box below to links to videos and also to products I mentioned throughout this video, and I'll have even more DIYs popping up on your screen you can check out next. Thanks so much again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.